Tonight on What's Your Story, a conversation with the Chief Executive Officer of Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Mr. Anthony Mwangi. Karibu sana.
Asante, Catherine.
How are you doing?
Very good.
Yeah?
Good to meet you.
So this corporate magnate, I wonder what your beginnings were.
I started humble beginnings.
Yeah?
Perhaps the real hustle. The real hustler.
How humble is
The
humble?
On the streets of Nairobi.
You?
Yes.
Selling things?
Selling knives.
Like what? Selling knives? I cannot wait to hear that story.
Yes.
You're ready to share it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so the show begins right now.
Thank you.
Let's go, Anthony. We are delighted tonight to have a supercharged conversation with the Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Welcome, Mr. Anthony Mwangi.
Thank you very much,
You see, I borrowed your word, supercharged.
Yes.
So we had this conversation with him just like 2 minutes before the show began. And we were talking about, which perhaps maybe makes for a good starting point, of how we Kenyans, let's speak for ourselves, because it's easier to just generalize it and say Africans. So I think it applies to Africans, but let's just speak about Kenyans. And could you give that example you just gave right before? I want them to benefit the way I did.
I think, Catherine, thank you for having me. You know, when we were growing up, and I'm a firstborn, you know.
Okay.
So at home setting, you are the first one, you saw something, you come and say, oh, mom, dad, I saw this.
Yeah.
And if you get it wrong, you are reprimanded right there in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So there was no opportunity for getting it wrong. If you're in class and there's a question asked and you're the first one to say,
Yeah.
teacher, 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 and God forbid you get it wrong, mwangalie huyu.
Yes, yes.
So according to how I have transitioned or look through my career, I've actually seen that working against us. If you put Kenyans in the same room, at least people of our age, maybe the young people are different, and put Kenyans, Indians, British, you know, Nigerians, Ghanaians,
Yeah.
and you say, in a company setting, I have this challenging project that we want to start. We have not figured out, you know, how exactly it's going to pan out. We need a volunteer. Do we have volunteers in the room?
Right.
I can assure you, the first person that is hand will be an Indian or British or Nigerian or Ghanaian,
Yeah.
but not a Kenyan,
Why not?
because of that history. Kimbelembele, yeah, brand. Kimbelembele,
Yes.
huyu na kiherehere,
Yes.
ana kimbelembele. So that culture has actually grown to us in the corporate world.
Right.
And I think it has worked against us.
Right.
And that you see in the global, you know, marketplace, you find there are a lot of Indians, there are a lot of, you know, Nigerians, even in the US,
Yes.
because they are able to raise up their hand and say, I can do this, even if they have not figured out how to do it.
Right.
Then they come to a Kenya and say, how do I do this? So we are good, we know you're good, but that brand of kiherehere has worked against us.
Yeah, so we become timid because of
Very,
that.
yes,
And
yes.
also
You want to be sure
that
before you volunteer yourself. Yes.
And the ones who are sure are very few.
Yeah.
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 Then he said something really special. He said to me, you meet a lawyer and they said to you, I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
As opposed to?
I'm an expert in law, in the constitutional law, or in family law, or in criminal justice. I'm an expert. You've done it for 20 years.
Yeah.
You say, I'm a lawyer.
I'm a lawyer.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm a manager. But you've done that job, you're an engineer, that you've been in these projects, but you're not saying, I am a professional in instrumentation. I am an electrical engineer par excellence. I am a civil engineer who can do, you know, global standards.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need to say, because that's what you are anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So tagging on to that, what is Anthony Mwangi?
Good question. And I'll approach it not from kind of the corporate level, because sometimes also, which is another weakness that I've discovered, that we associate ourselves with the jobs that we do. And I'm not the job I do. You know, I'm a father. I'm a husband to a lovely wife.
Yeah.
I have 4 lovely children. I'm a brother, I'm a son,
Yeah.
I'm an uncle.
Yeah.
You know, that is what, you know, defines. At the end of the day, when all these things are done, the chips are down,
Yeah.
it goes back to the family. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
But also, I've been around quite a bit
Yes.
in Nairobi.
You have traversed the corporate landscape internationally and locally. So it's not even a surprise that you're the CEO of KAM, that's Kenya Association of Manufacturers, but we'll get to that. So your corporate journey, I mean, you've worked for some, you know, big time companies. So let's see where that began.
It has been a journey, and I thank God for that. One thing I'll tell you from onset is it was not planned. I never look beyond what I'm doing. I just focus on what I'm doing, and I focus on doing the best I can. And it started way back in early 2000.
Okay.
I cleared my university in 98.
Okay, 98. So what
Yeah,
were you
class of
studying?
98. I went to study BA at the University of Nairobi.
Okay.
And because I grew up in the village, my biggest win when I finished Form 4 and I got admitted to University of Nairobi was to come to Nairobi.
So coming here, you had
That was it. Yeah. It's the first time I came to Nairobi. That is the longest journey I had done from Nakuru village to Nairobi.
Because you schooled in Nakuru Primary High School.
And I went to different villages, you know. I grew up in a place called Timboroa.
Oh, okay.
Went to a village school. Village, deep, village.
Okay.
And I finished my class 8. I went to even a deeper village for high school.
Next level village.
Yeah, actually lower village. Lower. And then I finished. Then at that time, I got admitted to University of Nairobi.
Okay.
So it didn't matter the course. It didn't matter, my father thought I'll be, I'll do civil engineering like he did in Kenya Poly many years ago.
Yeah.
But I was not for.
No.
I've come to Nairobi.
That is it.
That's it.
Whatever they tell you to do.
Hiyo tu ndio nitafanya. So my father brought, actually, I came, and it was interesting. That time, the road between Nairobi and Nakuru was very bad.
Okay.
So that is the longest journey I had done. By the time I landed in Nairobi, I had a headache.
Okay, but it didn't stop your happiness and joy.
Yeah, so there's some villagers who had tried to convince me not to go to university because, BA, I mean, there are no jobs. So why don't you go and do MTC, medical training? You become a nurse or become something at least, or go to a teaching, Then my dad, and I kind of got convinced by the villagers.
Yeah.
And then I told my dad, and he was extremely mad. And he told me, I thought you're a bright person. How do you get advised by people who have not gone to university? And I thought, there's a point. So even when he brought me for the admission, so crossing University Way was an experience, and it was two-way. Holding my hand, let's cross, you look both sides. That was big time. I mean, how do you cross the road in Nairobi? So we crossed from University Way, on the other side of University Towers to the main campus. And there was all these people registering for different courses.
Right.
And he asked me, so are you the most brightest person? All these people have come to university to do the course that you do. Are you the only bright person, more than all these guys? And then I thought, I'm in Nairobi.
That should...
I'm a campus student. That time it was a big thing.
Right.
Those days only 10,000 students used to go to campus every year.
Wow.
A's used to be like one. In our school, I think in the whole of Rift Valley, there were 2 A's.
Was one yours?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no. I'm one of those,
Okay. So BA.
Yeah, so did BA. Graduated, you got to third year, and it's really unfortunate. You get it, and now you see you're almost done with your college, and I say, oh my God, what do I know?
Right.
What can I do? That time the computers have started coming in, so there's DOS programming language.
Oh yeah.
And we thought, as third year students not going to fourth year, let's go and learn some of these packages, Excel, Word. Oh my God, I have never seen some difficult thing. I remember we sat in a class, and one of the questions was, 2 questions. Can you name 2 input and 2 output devices? We all failed.
Okay.
And so we finished, and of course getting a job was, challenging.
Yeah.
I tried to do odd jobs, and I can tell you one of the things that defined my life from there. I saw an advert of they're looking for salesmen, and applied, and I got called for the interview.
Oh.
Yeah. So I went for interview in Westlands, and I say, oh my God, this company is in Westlands. I went for the interview, and I passed.
Okay.
Now, when do I start the job? They told me tomorrow.
Okay.
What do I need to do? Okay, but don't forget to come with a bag.
What bag?
I say, what kind of a bag?
Right.
Come just a size of a bag, a big bag. And I'm thinking, are they going to give me clothes so that I can now look corporate, kind of, Then when I went and we were supposed to report at 7, I found all these people, dancing in the morning and singing and psyching themselves. We cannot be defeated. We're winners. Winners are not quitters. I say, oh my God, is this a cult or what is this? And I joined the dance.
Even as you're
so this job was actually a professional hooking job.
Professional hooking job.
Yes, in a tie.
Okay, what was
so
the
first of all, you're psyched. I got trained for 3 days. So you join someone who is experienced. You walk around with him. You see or her. You see what they're selling, how they sell. And hi, Catherine. My name is Anthony. Today we are selling knives. Just have a look at them. Oh my God! I said, oh God. But because if I did not do that, the only thing I could do is to go back to Nakuru, the village, and I didn't want to do that. So we had this one-room house in Kangemi.
Okay.
With my friends. We're paying 2,000. Okay. But most of the times, even the landlord come and plug the door off because we've not paid.
How many were living in that house?
It depends. During the day, during the night, because there are people working at night. There are people working during the day. So at a certain time, we met all of us. We were about 9.
In one room?
In one room. So these are some of them are university students, still students. As others are business people selling bread from 4 in the morning. Others sell milk. All manner of careers. And we look back, and all these guys now are corporate guys. We look back and say, oh my God, but it's good we started there.
What did that season of your life teach you that you've applied throughout your corporate career?
At that time, it looked tumultuous. It looked quite tough.
Yeah.
Because you can imagine, I'm waking up in the morning. I have to be in Westlands in the morning and pick my load, right? Sometimes you're selling knives.
You keep going back to knives.
Yeah, this time is actually when there was a lot of dumping of cheap stuff.
Okay.
So these guys devised a very clever way of using people to sell the merchandise. So we load, walk from Westlands, go selling on the road, go to Pangani, find myself in Isili, in people's houses. You go knocking doors, and you're psyched. You're told, winners are not quitters.
And the knives must sell. Are
you a winner? And then they have this board that you write the kind of car you want to drive. Put up your goal.
What did you write?
At that time, I wanted to drive a Mazda. So a Mazda, and you draw your car, and say how much it's going to cost you, how long it's going to take. So every day you're going to the field, you are reminded. The first thing we do is to sing, psych ourselves, right? Say, all manner of things that can make sure that you pull through the day.
Yeah.
It got to a point, and I could make 800 shillings a day.
Okay, not too bad.
But the problem is you cannot eat that money.
Oh.
You are so tired.
If
you just go and take a shower and delay for about 2 minutes, you're off. You'll wake up at midnight because you're hungry, and again tomorrow you have to be on the road.
Wow.
So it got to a point I said, okay, this is not the job I wanted to do. And of course my colleagues, my former college mates said, oh, I became a hawker. And I said, you know what? It's not the kind of job that I want, but now I want to test myself.
Yeah.
How hard am I? If the other guys can do it and they don't seem to have a problem, am I just saying this because I'm a graduate? What is the difference between me and them? And I said, now I want to test how hard I am.
Right.
I did that for 6 months.
Okay.
Right? 6 months is not a joke.
It's not.
It's not a joke.
No.
Waking every day, taking a matatu going to Naivasha. You go to Naivasha National, hospital or district hospital. You go and sell some massage things that they massage people.
Yeah.
These are fake toys. So one time we went to sell, to go back to the knives, we went to sell with my friend Kimani. We went to sell knives in Githurai. And we give all these ladies in the market the knives. And then one guy decided to be clever and said, you are selling without the city council license. Oh. And you are selling weapons. And he said, they're actually here. So we had to run away, and we lost our merchandise to the traders.
Oh.
Otherwise, you'll be arrested.
Oh.
Yeah? But you see, when you go back, there's nobody to explain to. So that is deducted for like another weeks of your commission. So, but it was such a a good lesson for me, because you see the way you're looking at me, every time I went for another sales interview, I gave that story. That became my defining story, and I actually started refusing jobs. I got a job to sell DSTV for an agency, worked a bit, did a few other jobs for software, and then I joined MFI. And I gave the same story.
Right.
You know,
And
they told me,
wanted you.
when do you want to start? I said,
Right.
this is a real salesman. I said, so how much money do you want? I was not experienced. You know those things that you're not taught, that, you know, how to negotiate,
school.
you don't have a mentor.
Yes.
And I said, whatever you want to give me. we joined five of us, and two of us got the minimum, the bare minimum. So one person got like ×3 of what we got, because they experienced, they knew how to negotiate.
What did that teach you?
I became one of the best copier salesmen in this town. I started managing big accounts, banks, you know, insurance companies.
Right.
And then after that, I got a job with Samsung, and that's how now I got introduced to the world of, you know, corporate, real serious corporate and international business.
Right.
So first of all, you know, Samsung was coming from Abidjan. There was fighting there. So they landed in Kenya. We were the first 9 people to be employed by Samsung Electronics. At that time, went to Uphill. Uphill was, you know, bushy. We used to walk from Victoria Towers all the way to Britam to catch a matatu.
Oh.
But it's also very, very challenging, because here we are. The company has come to Kenya. They have no idea about Kenya. They've just run away, actually. Demobbed from Abidjan to Nairobi. The computers are in French. They don't know the environment. They don't know anything about what's supposed to happen. They just look for a country to go and say, we want to set here.
Yeah. What was your role there?
So my role, I became the product manager for what we're calling IS products for East, Central, and West Africa. And again, I was given one of the impossible tasks to sell. One of the product was laser beam printer, Samsung printer. I'm sure you've never seen one. So I was in charge of that.
Okay.
So I knocked again all these doors and all the distributors.
Same style.
Can you sell? Can you buy? And then the challenge is that we are selling in container loads. And you pay in advance. You know, these are big companies. It's not like what you used to take a photocopy. You're not selling, and I used to get reminded, you are no longer selling to an individual customer.
Right.
You are selling container loads of goods to be manufactured. We do not have a warehouse where we keep goods waiting for people to buy. You buy, the customer pays, we manufacture, we deliver.
Wow.
You tell Kenyans like that, they tell you, oh my goodness. Kenyans tell you, get lost. We are not interested. And then you're competing with very entrenched brands, the HPs. You know, people knew about them. Right. This one, they tell you, I know TV and radio, but this one, I don't know. I don't know. But I got a breakthrough in Nigeria. I'm going to found a good company in Lagos, and they bought massive order. So that defined me. Kenyans, I did not sell nothing. But the order in Nigeria was covering the whole of kind of Africa.
Nice. So
we went to do a demo and a presentation. So I'm supposed to be joined by a product expert from Seoul, the headquarters. I didn't know the product. I think it was my 3rd week. We got to this meeting, and it is full of Nigerians. And my guy expert missed his flight.
So it has to be you doing the presentation?
Yes. We got into this, you know, we have about 600 people at Sheraton in Ikeja, Lagos. And I went to do the presentation, and these guys quickly learned the Kenyan little man doesn't know the product.
You didn't
because
know?
I'm reading now the presentation. I don't know. It's the 3rd week of my employment. I'm still studying the product. I don't know the customer. I don't know the product. I don't know the competitor product.
And in Lagos.
And you know, those are the key things that a salesperson must know.
Yeah.
Either you know your product very well, you know your competitor product very well, or at least you know your product half, 50%, and you know the competitor product 50%.
Yeah.
You have a chance of winning.
Yeah.
But in this case, I don't know the product, and I don't know the competitor product. and I don't know the country. It's my first time to take a flight outside the country.
Okay.
So these guys, they figure saying, this guy is reading the slides like this. It doesn't. So they started asking questions. My boss doesn't know. My colleague doesn't know. We are there clueless because our guy, the expert, missed the flight.
What were you answering?
So you answer, you mumble something, and then now they started saying, young man, Nigerians took over.
Yeah.
They took over the meeting. And they told me, listen, we don't know what you're selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't buy from the place you're selling us that we can order from in Dubai. We stopped buying things from Dubai a long time ago. We are Ikeja boys.
Eesh.
We buy things from China in container loads. So we don't understand what you're telling us. And they took over the meeting.
Okay.
I thought for what I've lost my job.
Did you?
And at that time, the boss then was telling us, he can give you per diem to keep in your pocket. Too luxurious. I'm carrying the money for you. You need something, come.
My goodness, are you serious?
So it's one of those most hilarious when I meet my former colleagues.
Yeah.
I have the most hilarious face of my career.
Yeah.
But again, that clash of local, international, it kind of destabilized me a bit. And I thought of, and my former company was still looking for me.
Okay.
So after
MFI.
1 year,
Okay.
2 years, I decided to go back.
Okay.
So I went back at the right time, so because that is when we were doing the Bombers Constitution.
All right.
So I printed the Constitution drafts with the biggest machines that you have never seen. So again, there was value there on the table.
Okay.
Then after some time, I got an opportunity. So we saw an advert, and we just going for usual sales calls with my friend Ruth. We were working together very closely. So what I said, there's an advert for KQ.
Yeah.
And she said, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
These guys just do it for PR.
Yeah.
And I said, but how much does it cost us? 5 shillings for the
Yeah.
envelope? Let's do it. So we did it. After about 3 months, they called me. I said, I'm Carol from KQ. I said, okay. So I even forgot.
Yeah, 3 months, yeah.
And then I was going for an interview. After interview, say, okay, I know they have their people, but you know what? Just participate. One after the other. We did about 5.
Interviews?
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And finally, we got the job, both of us.
Okay, oh, nice.
So again, we joined, and we were taken for training for about 6 months. Now we became international, flying to Cairo, flying to Dubai for training. And within 6 months, I became the acting country manager for KQ in Zimbabwe.
In 6 months?
In 6 months.
Okay, pause right there. We're taking a short commercial break. We'll be back in a jiffy.
I do not believe people should be sitting in the house just saying, look for a job for me.
Okay.
I don't believe that. There's something you can do. Get out there, go do it. Other people are doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, even being a hawker, there are people hawking.
Yeah.
Are they not human beings?
They
Just
are.
because of a piece of paper called degree, you can do that. You can earn a livelihood. I can do anything.
Welcome back. It's What's Your Story? We are having an invigorating conversation with the Chief Executive Officer of Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Mr. Anthony Mwangi. It surprises me not that you actually are in the role that you are now, because clearly if you've been selling knives, knocking on doors, running, hiding from security in buildings, but we left it off at now you are at KQ and you're acting country manager for a different country.
Yes.
And now you're international now, proper.
Big time. 29. I'm 29 years old.
At 29?
Yes.
Wow.
And so every Friday we used to have, meet up with Kenyans at the Kenyan embassy. Eat chapati, mutura, and the head, There are some Kenyans with restaurants there, actually.
Right.
So they will call them and they'll come, we meet Kenyans.
Right.
Some of the people that we interact with were very... So I'm one of this. Of course, there are doctors from AMREF who are based there, Kenyans, very senior doctors. But now I'm here. I'm the country manager, acting country manager for KQ. It's a big deal.
Wow.
If you want to fly, you want to change the date, you're calling me, you're seated with me. So I'll call the guys and say, okay. So it was an experience.
Yeah.
But at that time, again, you know, Zimbabwe was still going down the hill economically.
Yes, yeah.
So I had thought of taking my family. And something else was happening, you know, at home, very interesting. So my mom and my wife, my family was still very young. My daughter was still very young. They were praying for me not to get that job.
Oh, because it would mean you are not.
Because I'm either likely to take the family there, or if I stay there alone, I'm likely to abandon. That was the argument for my mom and my wife. So pray.
Really?
God, help. You know?
So
and maybe, and you know, it happens.
Yeah.
You know, it happens. So after 6 months, I figured out, I said, look, I'm used to hardcore sales. I'm used to real selling.
Yeah.
This one, I was selling through agency. I wake up in the morning, do my rounds, go through the agencies.
Yeah.
It's not really the kind of things that I'm used to.
You didn't feel utilized well.
It doesn't fascinate me. I went back to the head office, and I had an opportunity to talk to the CEO, and I said, look, I want a role, another role. And said, what role do you want? And why do you think you have the audacity to come? And I said, because I know I'll do better.
Oh, wow.
I know I can do much better. That time, I identified a role within KQ. Only one person had done that role from 1970s, late 70s.
What role
And
was
nobody
it?
really wanted to deal with that role, you know,
Why?
dealing with governments. You know?
Ah.
So it was called the Office of Government Affairs, in Government and Industry Affairs. I said, I know the holder of that role, a very good gentleman, he retired, is going to retire soon.
Right.
And I need to understand him.
Eish.
And he said, how come we have not thought about
Come to
succession
think
planning?
of it, yeah.
You know, we know that this gentleman is going to retire, no succession planning at all, and said, you have the role.
I am here.
I'm here. I demobbed from Zimbabwe.
Oh,
You
so
know?
mummies and wives' prayers were answered.
Yes, they got answered. So I became the deputy manager in charge of government and industry affairs.
Okay.
Within 1 year, the gentleman retired, but he trained me very well.
Right. So
And
it
I
goes
took
up.
over.
Right.
Now, that role is an interesting role because it is a role of getting market access for KQ. And that time we were on an expansion spree. That time KQ was growing. KQ was a brand a brand in Africa.
Yes.
We are all over and we're making money. We are
Yeah.
one of the few airlines globally making money.
Wow. Then.
I remember I went to a conference, an IATA conference in Berlin. I think it should have been 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
And I was seated with the CEO of British Airways and other CEOs because I was representing the CEO. And KQ was among 8 airlines that were making money globally. So I got called, and the CEO of British Airways said, congratulations, Kenya Airways.
And how long were you at KQ?
I was KQ for 7 years.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
7.
Yes.
Okay.
Then, you know, I had figured out, I say, look, and I remember Titus asking me, my CEO, so what else? You've mastered this craft. So what else?
Yeah.
And that time we did a lot of almost 50 agreements with different countries globally.
Wow.
Even the US, I was there in the US negotiating
Yeah.
how KQ will land in the US.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, okay.
And I remember it was such a difficult negotiation
Yeah.
because at one point I was, you know, kind of thrown out of the meeting.
You were rough
Because
and
I
tough.
was saying, no, I mean, these countries negotiate, they tell you, we don't negotiate, you take or leave it. And I said, no,
And then
I know
don't do
Nigerians negotiate, I know Japanese negotiate, why can't we negotiate? And they figure out this little guy is causing drama. So they said the next session is government to government.
Oh.
So my leaving KQ was interesting. So IBM, I had got this opportunity at IBM, and we were interviewing almost the whole of 2012, you know,
Okay.
because this is a multi-month,
Yeah.
you know, interview process.
Yeah.
About 6 or 7, you know, all the way to the VP
Yeah.
in DC. So it took a long time. And then KQ announced early retirement package. So my interviews, and I can see this job is loading, but it's loading very slowly. So the problem is, if I leave and it doesn't load, I am finished. My wife is telling me, don't try stupid things. And I'm saying, if I don't leave and the job loads, then I'll have missed the
package.
The package.
Yes.
So, and I prayed, I told God, so what do I do now? Right? I'm in this state. So I said, I'm going to take a bungee jump.
Of faith.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
An actual call it leap of faith. Without the job confirmation, and I said, I handed over my, my resignation. And because sometimes it's also good also not to be in good terms with your bosses sometimes, So they got it and say, oh my goodness, this guy has, finally,
Yeah, well, he's gone.
Finally, Because you see, in my job, I work very closely with the CEO. So there are many people who felt, because there are kind of number of people there, and they feel as if, I should be reporting to the CEO. Because even when you talk about technical stuff about dealing with government, a lot of them don't have that the competence in terms of go and make noise at government. Say, we don't do that. Diplomacy. However much you are grieved, you don't go throwing stones at the ministry. Or minister.
There's a way to do
There's a way to do it. So in a way, only the person who could understand that was Titus, because he had worked for government. He was a PS. He knew how things are done. So there are few guys who are comfortable with the style. So I handed over quickly, accepted by my boss, by the commercial director. Then when we were supposed to get our final letters, we had a room called War Room. So we congregated there, a few managers. We were waiting for our letters. We've been locked out of the system. The key card to open the doors out. You can't go to the toilet because the toilets are outside. So when they say, the commercial director said, unfortunately, the letters are not ready. And I say, sir, but if the letters are not ready, why are we being locked out of the system? We can't even go to the toilet. We can't move. We are now locked here. And I think he wanted to chomelea another director who had now activated those systems. So he took his phone and called the CEO. You could now tell the conversation from one side. No, I told you, this guy is messing up. He's locking out people out of the system. It's not the best way to get people off. And you can tell who has been locked out. You can tell. And he said, like Anthony Mwangi. And the CEO asked, now you can imagine, he says, how is Anthony Mwangi living going to help us? Because you have to recruit somebody else. We were not doing this for people to leave, and then we start recruiting. And I had all of a sudden, yes, sir, yes, sir. And then he called me to his office, saying, this thing is bringing out problems to me. I said, I have not done anything wrong. And I was returned into the payroll the same day, into the system.
Okay, so for me, I need to know, did you get the package?
Pole pole. Pole pole. So now, and I said, oh my God, God, you have saved me from this crash. I jumped off the aircraft without a parachute.
What do you mean?
As in, I had resigned without another job. Now I've been returned into the system.
You were taking a leap of faith, though.
Yes, but now, you see, faith also, now that faith has been told, now you go back to the system.
Okay.
So I stayed in the system for a month, and I finalized the deal with IBM.
Oh, okay.
So the question was, now how do I leave? But you see, I resigned within the window. So when I said, I know you really, really, really wanted me to stay, but I also have my, career.
Progression.
So I left, joined IBM. Now I'm in charge of East Africa.
Yes.
This is the time IBM is coming in. They're investing in lab, research lab. We're talking about cloud computing. Now mind-boggling. What is that? We're talking about artificial intelligence. I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to get this? So tech.
Okay.
So I got to learn about it. I did that for 3 years.
Okay.
So
what was your position there?
My position was the leader for government
still
affairs.
relations.
Yeah, I kept my lane. Very focused on my lane.
Okay.
I knew that the only way I have competitive advantage is keeping to my lane.
Right.
So I did the job. I was reporting in DC, so quite a number of our meetings in DC. Interesting moments. I had an opportunity to go to the Congress, to lobby, Congress.
Okay.
And I remember meeting the senator for Delaware at that time. I think he was Senator Christopher Coons in his office. And we were lobbying about, about AGOA because he was in charge of AGOA. And he said, look, hey, you're from Kenya. I just came from Nairobi. I met President Kenyatta, So went to Talo quickly. I accepted the job at Talo because it had a lot of other things that I didn't have. Communication, function. It was a director position. It's oil. This is a new thing. I'm fascinated by this kind of things.
Just find you.
It's something that is, not the usual. So went there, did a lot of work for 4 years. My most interesting was dealing with the community.
What community?
In Turkana. Because you're drilling oil. It's within the community. You need them to give you what we call social license to operate.
Who is
Government will give you physical or regulatory license to operate, but they will not be there.
Oh, the communities.
The guys who are there are the DCC, the county commissioner, the police. They do not sometimes have the skills to deal with the community when you're doing a project. So that because we had a big challenge navigating through politics, community, government.
Wow.
We spent a lot of time sitting under the tree negotiating with the community.
Yeah.
And they are very smart, extremely. I've never seen smarter people. And you're likely not to.
Wow.
Because of the challenges of the environment, they come together and they are on point. They are very clear on what they want.
Yeah.
So when I came, I sat with them. I said, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
We sit back and say we are a bit, educated, a bit exposed. Are we really? We don't even know what affects us. COVID happened, and Talo had to put the project on hold, on ice, as we left. So I found myself without a job.
Okay.
The good thing is that I dealt with the people very well. So you can't say this guy used to mistreat me, so it's good he's good riddance. So that was also a very interesting phase for me.
Okay.
Because COVID hit, we're out of work, people are not going to work. We're meeting with my friends, a place. And then one of the most difficult things was, how do you introduce yourself? I've always introduced myself. My name is Anton Mwangi. I work for KQ. I work for Samsung. I work for Talo. And now, that really changed. And I realized that without the brands that we work for, if you're not careful, you are nothing. Nowadays, I don't introduce myself as a CEO. My name is Anthony. If there's no business we are doing, you're not my member, we are not the government, so why do I need to CEO you? I'm Anthony. So I started saying, I'm a farmer. Am I really a farmer? I do farming. That was very confusing. Very confusing. And I realized, and the people who do their business, because some of my friends are self-employed, they didn't have qualms in introducing themselves.
Yeah.
My name is so-and-so. I do construction. I'm in construction industry. Myself, I'm not in construction.
Yeah.
In the farming, I'm talking of a small farm somewhere. It's very small. So that's really farming. So that kind of cracked me. And then, of course, stayed without a job, doing my little things.
For
of
how
course,
long?
For almost the whole of 2020.
Okay.
Until November, I joined Bolt. So Bolt came calling.
Yeah.
I joined Bolt. A very interesting company.
Yeah. Which
Talking about the
unfortunately we don't have time to
yeah.
explore. But we are winding up with your role now at Kenya Association of Manufacturers, right?
Yes.
So just in a nutshell, a nutshell,
Yes.
What does the organization do?
So we are a membership organization,
Yeah.
and we have, in manufacturing value-added services, we only have the people who actually do stuff, manufacture, add value,
Right.
And we have about 1,300 active members.
Okay.
Across 14 sectors. One of the sector is the bank in the service sector, so providing service to our members, and 13 productive sectors. Heavy engagement. We're one of the most well-resourced, well-financed BMO. And actual government depends a lot on us because of the budget making process,
Right.
because it's such a complex process.
Could you give us maybe 3 lessons and also like translate them into empowerment for people who could be watching? So they've heard how you have every step of the way, the jobs that you have worked at chose you.
One of the things that have really helped me a lot is passion for what I do.
You almost think
My friends say
yourself.
it's contagious. I can convince you to sell knives and tomorrow. I do not believe people should be sitting in the house just saying, look for a job for me.
Okay.
I don't believe that. There's something you can do. Get out there, go do it. Other people are doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, even being a hawker, I mean, there are people hawking.
Yeah.
Are they not human beings?
They
Just
are.
because of a piece of paper called degree, you can do that. You can earn a livelihood. I can do anything. And what has given me confidence even to go ask for the job that I want sometimes is that even things went bad, I can go back to what I did. I've lifted, myself. Of course, opportunities, God, and I have very strong faith.
Yeah.
So I tell people, please, it's not a fight.
Yeah.
That you sit in a company, you are all these, corporate politics and infighting. For what? The world is so big. This is a small place. Do your job. When you're done, go out and smell fresh air.
I like that. I like your fire. I love it. And I thank you for
The
coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
for coming. And I'm looking forward to a second conversation where we really now delve into the manufacturing. Because I think it's a really, really big deal in this country, in this continent. And you spoke also about trade. And no, we are not related before you start saying, but it's a family thing. It's a family thing. We thank you so much for watching What's Your Story tonight. Promise you there's a part 2 with the Chief Executive Officer of Kenya Association of Manufacturers, where we will we'll deep dive into the whole manufacturing sector in this country. And if you're one and maybe you call yourself a hustler and nobody knows you and maybe you're doing your small scale manufacturing, then you will need to watch that show, because this gentleman here is going to enlighten all of us on how we can just be productive and profitable. Until next week, I am gratified you made the time to tune in tonight. I'm Catherine Mwangi. Find us on our social media platforms showing now on your screens. Take care of yourselves and God bless you.
It's not by fluke that there are about a handful of global ride-hailing companies only surviving.
Yeah.
And it's a very difficult business, because this business depends on the investor building the 2 sides of an ecosystem.
Which are?
Most of the businesses, you find you have the product. You as an investor, you drive the demand. But in this business, you drive the demand and supply. But how do you do that? Just pushing money down the drain.
Gem Suites Hotel and Luxury Service Departments currently boasts 2 properties within Kenya. Gem Suites State House Crescent, set in the exclusive State House neighborhood, comprises of 34 well-appointed apartments, and Gem Suites Riverside, set up in a secure, private and tranquil setting in the upscale Riverside neighborhood with 98 luxuriously appointed full-service 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, superior hotel rooms and presidential penthouses.